Welcome to American Patriots Radio. My name is Jason W. Hoyt. You can find out more about the program at jasonwhoyt.com. That's jasonwhoyt.com. I'm doing today's show a little bit differently because I really wanted to get this message out. Been following over the last 24 hours a video has surfaced of a guy named Jonathan Gruber, some MIT elitist, statist, Obamacare architect. Now, the Obama administration had really pushed him to the forefront in the whole rollout of Obamacare, really as the architect, and he called the American people stupid. And he said the bill was purposely written to deceive the CBO, to deceive the American people. It's actually pretty disgusting. Now, he did come out, and of course he went on MSNBC, and he said something like, well, it was just off the cuff. I really shouldn't have said that. Well, of course you shouldn't, because now it's on video, and everybody's seen exactly what the intention was all along with Obamacare, which most of us knew. But anyways, a second video has surfaced where he was at another event calling the American people stupid. So it wasn't off the cuff. It wasn't a mistake. This was purposeful fraud and dishonesty. And let me talk to you about the opportunity here that we, the people, where the political power resides in the people, the opportunity that we have. Most people don't fully understand the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution that talks about the grand jury in the first part. It says, no person shall be charged for a capital or otherwise infamous crime. Now let's stop right there. Capital crime? We all know what that is. Capital crime is the big ones. That's where you can be punishable by death. Or otherwise infamous crime. What does that mean? That's what a lot of people don't really understand. Look it up. Google it. Cornell Law. They've done a great job with their Google search results, where when you search for some sort of legal term, they pop up quite often. Cornell Law defines infamous crime as fraud and dishonesty. Now, how can some people get sentenced to multiple years in prison, sentenced for millions of dollars in corporations, when they have fraud and dishonesty perpetrated on consumers? They can get in big trouble, but can our government get in big trouble? Who's going to do it? I heard somebody say, well, we need to find a state attorney so we can indict this person. But let me tell you something. The rest of that piece there in the Fifth Amendment, again, no person shall be charged for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless by a presentment or an indictment by a grand jury. Now, we all know what an indictment is. Everybody does. Everybody kind of shudders. Ooh, someone just got indicted. It doesn't really mean what a lot of people think it means. It's not guilt or not guilt. That's determined by a jury of your peers. That's determined by a petite jury. A grand jury just listens to evidence and determines whether or not there is enough evidence to move forward to trial. Okay? So most people, when they hear indictment, they think, oh, someone's guilty of something. No, it just means that there's enough evidence to move forward to trial, where a petite jury will determine guilt or not guilt. But that's indictment. That's where a state attorney, district attorney, whatever the case may be, someone from the institutional government, someone from the local government or federal, someone from the existing branches of government comes forward and brings evidence to a grand jury. But what is that other word? Presentment. Have you ever looked that up? Please do so now. Look up presentment. What is the presentment power of the grand jury? Again, the grand jury is us. It's we the people. It's randomly selected or through the filters of the existing government, but that's a whole other case for another day. But it's supposed to be of the people. According to common law, it's 25 people. I don't know why. Federal law or federal statute says 23 people. Here in Florida, the statute is 21 people. I don't know why they avoid common law. We're supposed to be a common law state, supposed to be a common law system of government. We should have 25, but again, that's a problem for another day. But the presentment power is where the grand jury, on their own initiative, can initiate an investigation. On their own initiative. They don't have to wait for the state attorney. They don't have to wait for the powers that be to bring them together to convene them. A presentment is where a grand jury, by their own initiative, can begin an investigation and issue a true bill of presentment to charge them with criminal activity, to then go to trial to be charged by a jury of their peers in a petite jury. We have that power. Here in Florida, our Constitution starts off pretty strong. Article 1, Section 1 of the Florida Constitution says all political power resides in the people. It also says that later on in the Constitution that we're a common law state. We're supposed to be a common law state, but we got all these statutes and all these statutory rules and regulations that are kind of getting in the way of we the people recognizing our power. Now here locally in Florida, I don't know if you've been following on American Patriots Radio, and please check out this show's blog post, jasonwhoyt.com. This show's blog post, I will have the full Kelly file video where Megyn Kelly on Fox News goes through and shows the video that surfaced yesterday and shows the one that's now come out where he again, Jonathan Gruber, the Obamacare architect, called the American people stupid, where he said that they purposely wrote the law in a certain way to get to where CBO can't score it and call it a tax. They wrote it in a certain way to fool the American people. Now, we've been duped. We all knew it, or a lot of us knew it. But anyways, the presentment power, you've got to research this. Now, what's going on here in Florida? A grand jury foreman in Dixie County, he was aware of criminal activity. He decided to begin, because he was aware of his oath of office, his duty to where if he's aware of criminal activity, look at the Florida grand jury instructions, the Florida grand jury handbook, you look at the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, and he says, you know what, I have to bring the grand jury together to look at some criminal activity. But what happened to him? The state attorney, Jeffrey A. Siegmeister, here in Florida, in that district, got in the way. He obstructed. Now, here's my call to action. Here's my call. Let me just cut to the chase. If you are on a grand jury today, call the grand jury foreman. Get in contact with the grand jury foreman. Says, you know, we have to convene. We have to talk about Jonathan Gruber. We have to issue a true bill of presentment. We have to look at evidence. Let's look at evidence of criminal activity, fraud and dishonesty. That's an otherwise infamous crime. We have to look at that and possibly issue a true bill of presentment to charge him with fraud and dishonesty. We've got it. Listen, I don't think we the people understand the power that we have. When Terry Trussell in Dixie County decided to bring the grand jury together to look at the possibility of criminal activity happening in his county, he was obstructed by the state attorney. Now, what do we have in our favor here to really back up what we're doing? Now, I understand that one of the branches of government, co-equal branches of government, the Supreme Court, most people look at the Supreme Court, they wait for the 9 folks in robes to come down from on high to tell us what our rights are. But in 1992, I'm not saying it's some obscure year like 1802, like 200 some years ago. I'm talking about 1992, U.S. versus Williams, Justice Antonin Scalia writing for the majority. Now, I'm not going to take one sentence and take it completely out of context. There's paragraphs upon paragraphs talking about the grand jury, the independence of the grand jury outside of our branches of government. The grand jury does not have to wait for the presiding judge or the constituting court to initiate an investigation. He talks about the grand jury was designed to be that buffer, that referee between the government and the people, to reach inside our government and root out corruption. So I've gotten a couple bits of chatter, people like, wow, we have to find a state attorney to begin. No, you don't have to do that. Read the Fifth Amendment, the presentment power. I've got a ton of blog posts and radio shows where I've gone in depth. I've interviewed Terry Trussell in Dixie County. I even went to in Dixie County for his arraignment. Sitting there at his arraignment, which you're like, wait a minute, he got arrested for what? You've got to check out jasonwhoyt.com to get all the background information. But I'm sitting next to Terry Trussell at his arraignment. The judge says, is Terry Trussell here? Terry stands up. He addresses the judge. The judge answers him back and then completely steamrolls him, ignores him, slams the gavel down and says, well, Terry's not here. Arrest him for failure to appear. And Terry was arrested on the spot at his arraignment for failure to appear to his arraignment. There's corruption going on everywhere. This guy, Jonathan Gruber, admits it. He calls the American people stupid. He admits to misleading them purposely. Guys, look, we have a lot of control. We the people, we don't have to wait for elections to hold them accountable. We already have that power. We already have that power. The Fifth Amendment, the presentment power. Go, please. Don't take my word for it. Go to jasonwhoyt.com. I got a ton of links of research that I've done. We have that power. Thank you so much. And please share this video. Share this blog post. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio. I'm on a lot of different places with American Patriots Radio. But please share this and tell the people you have the power. We have the power within us. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning into American Patriots Radio with Jason W. Hoyt.